Okay, game 4 of my match against Jerry. We've got Familiar, we've got Witch, so there's going to be some curses. And we've got Wall, so there's going to be some curses. And we've got Alms, so this is not going to be the most pleasant kingdom in the world. Yikes. I guess you just always buy Guardians. You just need a crap ton of Guardians if they go for potion stuff. So if you don't go for potion stuff, I guess you go for Miser stuff. Miser to me seems like the cleanest way to do it. But like highways are also nice. You can also go for highway worker village stuff. Where basically use Miser to thin your coppers and then still discussing a little bit the previous game. So yeah, so Wall here is the big one. Wall here is the big one. Curses, right? So if you can get your opponent, every curse is worth -2 points. You can't trash them and your deck just gets mucked up. So you want to have a thin deck so you can play all the workers, villages, and highways and buy provinces. You don't want to allow them to curse you, so you just always want to have a Guardian every turn of the game. And if that means you pass up buying something better to get a Guardian, I think you take that. You can always get 4 costs with Miser, so even if you have hands with curses or whatever, or say you play 2 highways and a workers village, you can buy a Guardian and then alms for a livery or a royal carriage or something. Royal carriage doesn't work well with highway. Royal carriage I don't think works, doesn't work well with highway because the text is below the line, but it can work with Miser and workers village. If you want to draw, you can use Witch. I think you probably want a little bit of draw, and the existence of the Witch forces your opponent to take Guardians and stuff. You probably end up with 3 or 4 Guardians, which is annoying. Depending on the size of the deck, you might end up with 4. Ideally, you get a little bit thin with Miser. You maybe get a couple of Guardians into Witch, and then grab a highway and alternate like highways and workers villages, and then try to get a big mega turn where you pile down provinces. Yeah, I could see the bridge. Bridge helps you get to Witch faster, a little bit faster. Okay, we're going for bridge. And I'm going to pair it with Miser, which is a little bit unstandard, but feels necessary. Unless they get a Witch, in which case I'm going to get a Guardian. It'd be very sad. If you have 2/5 here, you can get a 4 cost and a 5 cost, which is nice. But even if you have 3/4 or 4/3, you're going to use Alms. Mostly just for fun, because you can click on it, but also because your opponent doesn't know whether you have the 2/5, so they have to be a little bit worried. So if they have the 4/3 and get like double bridge, then I could get a Witch here if I had the 2/5. Obviously I don't, so it doesn't affect me. I'm interested to know what they're thinking about after thinking all the time that they took. I even changed my mind after I saw what they did. I wasn't looking at bridge as much because it's terminal. There are ghost towns, so you can get some village support there, but it seems like it's going to be tough to do a ton in this kingdom, just due to the effects of Wall. Maybe that's not true. Yeah, so you just need to make sure you're protected with Guardians, and then you build a normal deck of bridge, workers, village, highway, mega turn, and you're planning on buying like 7 provinces. Is the Miser just completely terribly awful? I could believe that just the Miser is just terribly awful. I don't know. I think it's better with Alms, as long as it doesn't collide with. As long as it doesn't collide with. What am I saying? As long as it doesn't collide with the bridge, I don't think it's awful, because I can play the miser on turns. And normally one of the difficulties about miser is that you've given up 2 cards in your hand, a copper and a miser, for no value that turn. But with alms, you can just then buy a workers' village or buy a highway, which I think is what I'm going to do here. Play a bridge and alms for highway. They alms for royal carriage. Okay, so they're going royal carriage, bridge, mega turn. Okay. This I've seen before. Without trashing, this is a little tough, but I think I have to now deny the royal carriages. I could also get a free guardian here, but I don't want to do that if they don't have a witch. There are some build order questions that I'm not sure how one works out in this situation. You kind of want some villages. You kind of want more bridges, more highways. Do I already want the workers' village, for example? Or just want another bridge? Or do I want a ghost town? I have 3 terminals in a fairly smallish deck. I think I'm going to get 1 workers' village. And then I can later on alms for ghost towns if need be. So I have my miser, bridge, workers' village down there, which is nice. I'm going to risk the workers' village being below it and just getting another bridge here. So if you can get the way royal carriage, so I mentioned about highway above the line. Bridge doesn't have a line. So if you play 7 royal carriages on a bridge, you have 9 buys and everything costs, all the provinces cost 0. So you just buy the provinces. If you play 5 bridges, 5 royal carriages and a bridge, everything, the provinces cost 2 and you've got 6 money. So letting your opponent get 6 royal carriages is going to make your life very, very difficult. So you kind of need to try to get to 5 royal carriages. They're almsing for another royal carriage, okay. And buying potentially another bridge. I should, in theory, be able to do something similar on my next turn. They got a ghost town. Yeah, these extra ghost towns are nice. So what I said about ghost town earlier was I can guarantee I hit all my good cards next turn. Not guarantee, but increase the chances with the ghost town here. Or I can just get the next bridge. I think I'm going to get the next bridge. And was able to find good draw here. So I can play Workers' Village, bridge, royal carriage the bridge, play the miser, alms for a royal carriage, maybe grab 2 ghost towns or something like that. I can also see highways being useful here. This game ends very, very quickly with the power of the plus bridges. It's not clear to me that the miser is going to have any great effect, but okay, royal carriage that. Copper to mats. Don't play my treasures. Okay, so I can do what they did. Alms for royal carriage and buy 2 ghost towns. That cycles you through the deck. The problem is the second time through the deck, the ghost towns are bad. That is the problem that I have here. Like, they're fine on this shuffle, but the next time I'm just drawing ghost towns that aren't particularly good. But they accelerate their build very, very quickly. And I can get 2 of them versus only 1 workers' village. So I guess we'll go ahead and do that. Also worth noted, if I feel like we're 1 turn away from the end of the game, I can just load up on random guardians, which will give me +1 coin next turn. So what I'm going to do now is start tracking how many plus buys they have. They have 2 bridges, I believe. Oh, this is quite nice. Okay. So this is quite nice. I can get 3 royal carriages and 2 ghost towns. So they have now 3 bridges, is that right? They have 3 bridges and 3 royal carriages. So on best possible turn, they can have 7 buys. So the game can end almost immediately next turn, as the piles are at 9 now. I will consider this turn grabbing the random guardians if need be, except those are minus wall points, so retract what I said. You also have to be very careful when piling out here. Like a 3 pile that normally would work here, ghost towns, royal carriages, bridges, would be minus 9 points for them. As you saw, I had a big turn and gained 5 cards, and now I'm losing the points, which is fine. I'm not caring about that at this point in the game, but you have to worry about the pile situation. Because of that, you need to make sure that if you're piling out, you grab duchies along the way. Estates are also point neutral, so you probably won't be buying those unless, again, you have 8 buys and 2 bridges in play. Then you can pile out the estates for free, and it's neutral VP. So they thought about that royal carriage for quite a bit, which is interesting. I'm not sure what I assume they're just going to get the last 2 royal carriages here and 2 ghost towns. And then it kind of behooves me to score a little bit. Well, I can't really score here. Does not make any sense to call those. And I have no ghost towns coming in, so I've got to try to find a bridge next turn. They've got 2 ghost towns coming in. Is there anything I want to alms for? Another workers' village, I'm not going to see it. So honestly, I don't think I do anything here. I think I just pass turn. Hope to find a bridge next turn, which I did. I think it's very likely that Jerry wins on this turn, though. That seems like the most likely outcome. Well, they don't have draw. They have to find all the bridges and royal carriages this turn. I didn't find any bridges last turn. I'm finding 3 this turn, and next turn I've got my village and another bridge. So we'll see what they can do. I assume they don't have a royal carriage in their hand, otherwise they would have played it already. And probably if their only actions are bridges, right? So they play first you play all the royal carriages, then you play the first bridge, and then you pause to think. Actually, you have multiple actions. You play as many bridges as you have in your hand, and the last one you pause to think about royal carriage stuff. I'm not sure what they're thinking about right now, given that analysis. Okay, so yeah, the thing happened that I said was annoying was that they have these ghost towns which accelerate the earlier turn, and now these turns where they want to be really active in doing stuff, they're drawing ghost towns instead of good cards. Okay, well, I'm always playing the bridge. Can I win here? I'm not seeing it. I have 5 buys, and stuff is cheap, but I could pile here, but then I would lose on the tie. I can do something like province and 4 duchies. Yeah, I can do something like province and 4 duchies and claim that the game ends and they don't have a way to get much more VP than that, but it doesn't seem unreasonable for them to be able to get 3 or 4 provinces next turn. And it's going to be very difficult for me to do so without any of my royal carriages. But as I said, I thought they might be able to win their turn, so I think I need to try to win this turn. Sorry, not try to win, but try to just get an insurmountable VP lead this turn. So I can alms for province, buy 4 duchies. And then I never have a good turn the rest of the game. It just seems so easy for them to be able to pile out stuff to be able to build a little bit more once I've done that. I also don't give myself any pile pressure in that situation. Not really sure what else to do though. I'm always almsing for province. So something I could do is buy 4 highways. I'm just going to buy... This feels really bad to buy 4 duchies. I wonder if buying witches is useful at all. I'm just killing my deck. They can safely get all their rail carriages down because I can't. I don't have any pile pressure anymore. I don't know. I feel pretty well lost at this point, so we'll see what they can do here. Unfortunately, I don't know what I would have had to have done. If I found that workers' village or that rail carriage, I guess I could have done a pile out on bridges and province. That would have been a tie. I would have had to have done the math. But I found very nice cards in my hand. I can't complain about the shuffle where I have bridge and rail carriage. If the bridge was down lower, it would have been sadder. So again, they can play their rail carriages. They can play their first bridge and decide what to do there. They're also going to run into the situation where they either have a bunch of ghost towns or none. It's completely random, it ends up being. We'll see what they've got. The reason I say they should just play their rail carriages first and then a bridge is because, strategically speaking, there is never a reason here where they wouldn't want to play a rail carriage. And there's never a reason where they wouldn't want to play a bridge. I guess unless they're going to pass turn, but I don't think you'd pass a turn with bridges in your hand. And as a commentator, it lets me see what they're doing earlier. I'm sort of left to guess at what their possible makeup of hands are. The other thing is that if they didn't have a bridge in play, maybe they were just counting the pile out. I should have enough VP, though, to block the pile out here. So if I hadn't scored that turn, they could buy 5 bridges and a province, although that seems like it would lose. No, did they find a win here? They did. Okay, good game for Jerry. And I will see you in game 5. That one, I think, is they had a little bit better strategy early on, and then I think it devolved a little bit into shuffle math, but they had a little bit of an edge on me. So, well played by Jerry. I'll see you in game 5.